Good evening, all you wonderful people out there in Raider Nation land. Hey, it's Friday night. It's 6:30, and, hey, we're here. I mean, it was a frustrating performance Sunday, but, hey, we got to do what we got to do. And what we do here is we bring that Raider Nation knowledge to you one show at a time. I mean, it's not like Wednesday night when I fight that West Coast bias with Josh Matson on the NGSC West Recess. We do a little something different here. A situation that's near and dear to my heart, and that's Oakland Raider football. And as you all know by this point, fighting that Raider Nation bias, it's never a one-man operation. So I'm here with the one man that I do trust in this operation, my co-host with the most, my brother of another color, Jim Paskowitz. And when we are together, we are the NGSC Blackhole Brigade. And what we're here to do is give you all the Raider information that we have, and hopefully when our program is over, you become a better Raider fan or a more knowledgeable Raider fan. And I guess without further ado, we should go ahead and get it started here. And how are you tonight, Jim?
I'm doing okay so far.
All right, good to see you, man. So, tough break on Sunday night in Oakland, on Sunday afternoon in Oakland here. I guess I'll let you go ahead and get us started walking through that game a little bit.
Let me just say right up front, to his credit, Derek Carr did shoulder the blame. That it's a tough loss in the division. And the way they lost it, I hate to say it, but it's almost better being blown out because, there's so many ifs, if only, and that was one of those games last Sunday. There's not much else to say.
Well, for me, I mean, we've talked about this all week long. It's not really an if only for me. I blame this loss on one person and one person only, and that's number 4. I mean, I've got to point the finger at you. You're the quarterback. You're the leader of this team. There is no excuse for the turnovers you committed in the fourth quarter of that football game, and I'm sure I'll get into that a little bit later. But the thing that did really kind of give me a smile on my face was Latavius Murray coming out playing well. He got us going on that first drive, got in the end zone, and he rushed for 88 yards. So it's good to see the rushing game clicking, and he's starting to form a formidable 1-2 punch over there with our fullback, Jameez Olawale. And I'm sure you being a big fan of the running game, I'm sure that pretty much excited you also, Jim.
Yeah, there were a couple games there where I was starting to wonder if maybe he was hitting the wall, but the last couple of games they've come out and they've committed to him, and they've run the ball reasonably well. And last Sunday, I can't stress enough, I didn't see it coming in the preseason. Olawale's been a complete and very pleasant surprise. I never saw that coming. He's become like a backup halfback. But as far as Murray goes, to me, he's the future. He's the running back. He's our guy.
Yeah, I've got nothing against Latavius. He's always played well as long as he's been here. And I mean, before we move on, though, I mean, talk about our guy Crab getting paid. I mean, we talk about this every Friday night on the show, and it finally happened. Your thoughts on Crab getting his money? $32 million, $19 million guaranteed, 4 years. He's locked up.
Well, when they first announced the signing, I'll admit I held a bit of a grudge against him for the flack when he was drafted about, I don't want to play for Oakland, blah, blah, blah. But, for most of the season so far, he's been everything the Raiders have asked him to be. He's been consistent. He's been consistently open. He's caught some incredibly difficult passes. He hasn't had the drops that unfortunately Cooper suffered a little bit. He's been about the most consistent wide receiver we've had, and he hasn't been high profile with the mouth. So, what else can you ask of the guy? To me, he earned a little bit of an extension, and he got it. And
yep.
Everybody,
it is kind of shocking. It is kind of shocking that he is no longer a diva. So I guess we can deal without them there not being any drama in Oakland. So I'm happy about that also.
Well, everybody complains about money, but it is what it is. And to me, he's earned at least an extension. So why not do it?
Yeah, exactly. And It's like I said the other day to you. I mean, Amari Cooper, he's got to get these bricks out of his hands, man. With a 7-7, he drops that 4th and 2, and that also kind of changed things in that football game also. Because although it was a 7-7 game, you could tell Oakland was up there swimming with the momentum. You get that first down, you go down there and score. Kansas City probably has nothing left in the tank. Kind of like with the pass that Carver threw to Crabtree. So there was a lot of plays that did get just left on the table in this football game. And I guess that is conducive of a young building football team.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff like that happens. And I read the interview with Carr on Monday where he said, basically he was trying to do too much, and I think that was a huge problem. To me, it's just calm down, throw the ball away when you need to do that. He's done that all season long, but last Sunday was not one of those games.
Yeah, it was kind of frustrating, Jim, because, he wants to win as bad as anybody else on that team, and his craziness, though, it ended up costing us. So hopefully he gets in the lab this week and he doesn't make those mistakes this week against Denver. And, man, talk about the legend, man, Charles Woodson. This guy, man, he forces 2 fumbles Sunday, and he just seems to be a turnover forcing machine. I know as a Raider fan, I'm probably kind of homeristic on this, but, hey, Chuck Woods getting my vote for Defensive Player of the Year if this continues. 39 years old, you're playing like you're 20. Hey, I can't take nothing away from the guy.
Hey, at his age, to do what he's doing at 24 would be impressive. At almost 40, it's unbelievable. What else can you ask of the guy? And I think he may actually be back next year. I hope so.
Let's definitely hope so. I want Chuck Wood to stick around as long as he can play at a high level. And, it's not like we've got any other reinforcements behind him that can play better. This guy is just like, I don't know, he's like Benjamin Button. He gets better and better and better. Kobe Bryant needs to go ahead and go have himself a conversation with Charles Woodson about playing dominant football a dominant sport at this age. Because, Kobe's my boy, but, yeah, he's going down while Chuck Wood is just continuously trending upward and upward and upward.
Yeah, and I don't know what can be attributed to that, if maybe Woodson's just in that good condition. But he has not lost a step from now and maybe a half dozen years ago when he was with Green Bay. He hasn't lost a step.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx him here, so I'm going to go ahead and say knock on wood when I say this. It looks like hopefully the shoulder is finally starting to come around, and at the perfect time, because we got 4 games left, and we're going to need all 4 of these games just to have a chance. But it's going to be big time. It's always good to have meaningful December football games, and we haven't had that in 4 years. So I think I'm glad the young guys, they got a little taste of it Sunday, that they have to know what to do going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. For a young team, it's the kind of loss that for a young team can either make or break you. If you put it in perspective, and, to me, they were 1 play away from being up 2 scores late in the game. So it wasn't like there was, it wasn't like Kansas City came out and ran the ball down our throats and just completely dominated. It was pretty much 1 or 2 plays that made the entire difference in that game.
Yeah, that they did not do. The defense was on point most of the game. They did a good job. Khalil Mack got to Alex Smith a couple of times again, and that was always good to see. I do believe that Khalil's going to end up hitting the 10-sack mark this season, and that was kind of a goal that we had for him in the preseason. So I'm glad to see him getting there. Looks like Crabtree and Amari Cooper, they'll probably hit 1,000 yards. But, the frustrating thing with Cooper is if he didn't have all the drops, man, can you imagine how dominant his rookie season would be right now?
Oh, it'd be unbelievable right now. He's getting a lot of targets every week. Carr is throwing to him. It's not like, that he's only getting 2 or 3 passes in his direction a game. So if he can get the drop straightened out, and last week I compared his first season to Jerry Rice's, which was very similar, actually. And I hate making that comparison, but when you look at their first seasons, they are very similar because Rice had a lot of drops his rookie year.
Well, all I can say is this, Jim. Hopefully both careers end on the same tangent with a couple of rings and a trip to Canton, but we're a long ways off from that. And I will say, though, it does look like this wide receiving core is set for the next few years. Because, I mean, I got to give props to another young wide receiver we got there. I mean, I thought he'd just have a one-week thing, and he played well again last week, Seth Roberts. And, hey, he's really proven that he wants to be the third leg in this powerful Oakland Raider offense. And I've got no problem with that because the guy, he can play some hell of a football. And, hey, I don't know what's in the water down there at West Alabama, but they're starting to really churn out some NFL talent. So look out for Seth Roberts in the next few years over there in Oakland.
Yes, they are. Roberts had another 4 catches, which for a third wide receiver, that's a very productive game. So, yeah, you can't ask much more from him.
Yeah, no doubt. So, with that being said, I mean, I guess we should go ahead and be happy that we're 5-7 here. But, I mean, this team, though, they've left a few games on the table. So, I guess that's another thing that could make us happy. We could be sitting here with about an 8-4 football team. But, I mean, when you're dealing with youth, though, and you're going to have a lot of errors being made, I guess this is about as good as we can expect from this team this season. So, I'm happy with it. What's your take on what you've seen so far the first 12 games?
Well, the mistakes I'm seeing are mistakes from a young team. I mean, it's not like they're being blown out. It's not like they're just constantly making huge mistakes. It's all the little stuff that should come with experience to me. Sunday's game, I should say, I cannot stress enough that wide open throw that Carr missed Crabtree on changed the game completely.
It most definitely did. It just changed everything for the worse at that point.
Yep, because to me, I don't know if he would have scored, but to me it looked like he had the angle and he has the speed to get to the end zone. And that would have put the Raiders up by 2 scores at that point. So, that to me changed the game. And the other one was, I haven't seen that much from him this year, but Carr got really happy feet a couple times during the game. And one of them was that interception/fumble to the lineman where, he's back there and he's dancing around and he's trying to make something happen. And I'm just thinking, throw it to the sideline, throw it away, just chuck it somewhere. And
it looked like he was in the pocket to me, so I'm up there yelling, get down, get your ass down, get down. But, it's third down and we can get the field goal with Jano.
Exactly. At that point it would have put us up 2 scores, so take the points any way you can. And if that means taking a sack, then take a sack. But just whatever you do, don't throw an interception or fumble. And that's exactly what happened. So, And to me, it was a case of he was trying too hard to do something, to make something happen.
I'll tell you this, Jim, man. I was horrified watching them do this over and over and over. I mean, I usually try not to, get too emotional about football games, but I was literally sitting there almost getting ready to cry because it was just, just frustrating the hell out of me. It was very uncharacteristic. I was like, what are you doing? You never do this. Stop.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the frustrating thing is that's what we haven't seen him do this year. That hasn't happened very much, where he's been under pressure a lot, and it looked to me like he was panicking a little bit. I don't know. I can't speak for him, but it looked to me like he was really getting happy feet and trying so hard to make something happen. And the rest of the time, most of the season, he's done the right thing. He's either thrown it away or, like we said, take a sack, whatever, but don't cost us points. And unfortunately, that didn't happen.
Yeah, he cost us an assload of points Sunday, I'll tell you that much. And I'm sure a guy who was pretty happy about that was Tyvon Branch, the former Raider.